All right. Test mic 1, 2, 3. Test mic 1, 2, 3. Test mic. Test mic. Test mic. Test mic. Okay, guys. Before we begin, I'm thinking we should pray. Since we're Christians, I think it's fine that we should pray. Father in heaven, thank you for your love toward us, for your unconditional and persistent love. We feel you every day, every minute in our lives. The strength that we have inside of us that we usually ignore, we know that this is you, the hope. You keep us standing, even though our minds are like so busy worrying about things, wanting, needing things. We have the assurance inside of us that you are there to take care of us. And we thank you, Father. Thank you, Lord Jesus, for your goodness and for your love and for faithfulness that you've shown in our lives. And in the face of the world, coming to whatever they want to go, you're not worried. And we're just, we expect uh, things to come and go, but there's always going to be one constant, and that's you. And we thank you for that. We thank you for this consistency, for your love toward us. And as I share my message today, I hope that you will bless everyone who's listening and use this message, Father, to whatever ends that you find useful for it. So we give you thanks always, and be with us today, this moment, as you have always been. So we just want to thank you for everything. Amen. So, guys, so about me, I don't know if I should share my personal my origins. I am a pastor's kid, and ever since I was young, I always noticed that people in the church, I grew up in the church, right? They always like see me as a potential like pastor or something like that, someone who will follow in the footsteps of my father, my dad. And though I have an older brother, it was always me that they saw that will follow his footsteps, which I actually did, but I'm not no longer in that area anymore. So why I say that is because since I was a child, I was resistant. I always resisted that. I hated that people want me to be someone they think I should be. But now, in my as I reach this stage in my life, I think people saw something in me. They were not forcing themselves onto me, but they actually saw something in me. And why I say that is because though I have a very rational and I'm a man of science, right? I don't just believe anything. I need explanation, I need like proof. I don't like I of course I get fooled sometimes, especially by propaganda. Like the more like groupthink or mass formation, like the ideas in that formed by being exposed to constant like propaganda always affects, sometimes even more so, those who are intellectuals, those who are more rational, more grounded people are easily swayed by propaganda simply because of the consistency of the data, of the information that they're getting. Even if it's a false information, they tend to build this feeling inside of them that what they're hearing is true, and then they create the bias and search for, you know, supporting data, though erroneous, sometimes incomplete. They pick and choose certain things to prove, like to solidify their, because intellectual people don't like to be hanging in the questionable zone. Like they want to operate within the known, right? uh in in an environment that they know is certain. Like when you're intellectual, you don't want to operate in a world that anything can happen, that there are things that might not, what you may not have calculated. And so everything that you've been doing has been like, it could happen that everything that you've been doing was useless because there's one information that you didn't account for, right? So that's why intellectual people are most likely more to follow a certain propaganda simply because it feels more certain. So, like for example, during the 2019, I was the first to experience the effects of that. It was even before 2019. 2020 was the day of the lockdowns, right? So even before that, mid 2019, the virus was already spreading. So, but it was not very strong yet, but it was here and there, right? So I was first to experience that, and my entire household experienced the virus, and we spent like a month trying to recover from that. But we didn't think it was that crazy, that it was very dangerous, so nobody died because we didn't attach anything to it. We just thought that this was a strange flu. This was the strongest, most powerful flu that we've ever experienced. That I had to like sit down to sleep, because if I lie down to sleep, I cannot breathe. So I had to sit down, sit up, so I can sleep. And then I had to like eat uh, porridge, hot porridge, with lots of, garlic and ginger, just to to soften the, air passage, so you can breathe more easily. But it was very the weirdest flu. But then later, months later, we realized that there's an outbreak. So because of that, I bought into this. I actually forgot that I already experienced that. I wasn't sure that that was the ultimate form of this virus. I didn't even think that this was related to the virus that came out. Because when the virus came out on public, the news was like filled with these images of people just suddenly collapsing and then shaking, right? They were like, they collapsed suddenly and then started convulsing. and then died. So that was the propaganda that was being spread. And then there was this Chinese doctor that was isolated in a room that he cannot get out, and then he was like, so there's a drama that was going on, right? So that was, you know how it goes, how it went, the movie that we went through. And I bought into that. And then later on, I suddenly found information, more information, that question that bought everything that I thought I was preparing myself for. And it wasn't really that. It was something else. The virus was just something that we are pointed into to see, but the response was the purpose. The purpose was to herd people, right? So with this now, I don't know. It is alien disclosure. I don't know where they're leading us to, but I know that this, whatever they show us, is not the purpose. The purpose is to tell a story. Are you getting my point? So it's not what information or data that they've gathered and then they show us this information. It's not about that. It's about the story that they're going to make to tell us about this, and then where that information would push people towards. Okay, so, oh, by the way, I found a video on YouTube just a while ago, an hour ago, that there's the one who gathered the Christians into a meeting said they had a different meeting, but it's a confused. It's very confusing. So, but regardless, this topic is up right now. So I want to share the third experience that I was hinting at uh, in my first video about this, about alien experience. So about me, um, I've always, not always, there were occasions in my life that I experienced weird things, right? Like I was a child, I saw something, right? And I heard stuff, right? Miracles here, there. But I've not really experienced, I experienced one healing miracle for myself. It didn't involve anybody. I was having a high fever, and then I prayed and the fever disappeared. So I've had experiences like that. Now, this other new experience now that I'm going to share to you is a personal one, and it's very private, but I have posted this experience on Paul Wallace's channel in one of his videos. I think one or two of his videos, and on other videos sharing my experience, but it was just text, right? So what happened was, uh, my aunt brought us cousins, all. She brought us to a prayer mountain here in Manila, right? So she brought us there to. I think it's a 2 day seminar or 3 day seminar. I think it's 2 day seminar. So she brought us there for this. I think it's 3 days prayer week something. So I wasn't into stuff like that, right? I felt forced when it comes to religion, and my ideas about God has always been in contrast with what religion teaches, right? Because religion teaches fear, And my knowledge of God since I was a child, it wasn't fear. It wasn't about guilt and shame. It wasn't anything about that. It was all about love, right? He loves us so much. That's all. That's the center of my knowing of God, right? My relationship with Him personally. So religion has become somewhat of a. I hated it, right? I not hate it to the point of being open about it, but I resent the people that are talking about it. But I was not very vocal about it, and was while I was young. Of course, I have no power to change anything, so I just went along, right? You know, arguing here and there, putting some, hints of debate here and there, right? So there are things in the Bible that's very obvious that the church doesn't follow, or even contradict themselves. So uh, we were there, right? But I was concerned about it. I don't like it, so I snuck out from the worship hall, right? So they were doing stuff there. I don't know what they were doing, but it was all about prayer, right? So I went out, snuck out, and because this was in a mountain, right? So there's hills in there, like trees and stuff. So I went out from the main building and then went out from the compound, and I was looking for a spot where I could sit down in quiet in open spot right on the hill. And there was a lot of hills there. Like it was really nice. It was on a high plane. So I found a spot, trees behind me, like further away, but there's this green, the grass is green. It's very nice. So I sat down there and facing the sun that was setting, right? But the sun was about maybe an hour from setting, right? So I can see the sun setting down, but you can feel the heat, right? But this was a long time ago, so it wasn't as hot as right now. So I was sitting there, right? And I began to think. I began to ask, right, in my heart. So before this event, before I sat down there, like a few years ago, my friend, my classmate gave me a book by Zachariah Stitchen about the chariots of the gods. This was the first edition, and there was always argument with my friends about this because I was the son, the pastor's son, right? So they come to me and they want to debate with me about the existence of God, because these people were not, my friends are not superstitious people. They are rational, scientific, uh, they're atheistic, right? Because that's how it is. And I also, I'm a very, I'm a thinking guy, so I don't I'm not I'm not someone you might call like a fanatic when it comes to religion. I don't just take someone's word just because they take it from the Bible. I don't, right? I have to, even when my teacher said that the earth was round when I was young, I didn't believe her because I didn't feel anything. I wasn't feeling anything. So I started jumping up and down to see if the earth would move beneath my feet. So this is how I am, right? I am not some guy, although my experiments were stupid. I'm not some guy who just believes anything, right? I need proof. And I wouldn't believe in God if I didn't experience the things that I experienced, right? I wouldn't be here praying if I didn't experience things related to him, right? When you ask a question personally to him, no barrier, no, just talk to him like a friend, like he's your father. Talk to him, ask him, like, what's going on here? Tell me. He's gonna show you. He's gonna lead you to things that will open your mind. This is really real. This is not. This is what people may call like synchronicities, but I think it's answered prayers. Someone will guide you into it. Okay, so I read the book, right? So they kept arguing to me, like, what if there's no God? Like, do you know that aliens exist, right? Do you know that aliens exist? What if there's no God? What's gonna happen to your religion? And I wasn't really concerned about the religion because I don't care about religion, right? But I cared about the idea that there's no God, right? And then inside of my heart, I was being torn by the pressures of religion, right? But I still kept holding on to it because, it's what I grew up in, and somehow God is tied to that, right? And to be honest, even though I say that I don't believe anything immediately, I didn't really look into. I was reading the Bible. I had study Bibles, right? But as a kid, if you're young, uh, especially for us, people have different levels of maturity, right? So if 10 years ago, I might not be able to think this way because of the trauma and all the stuff from my childhood, especially from religion. The trauma that it produces stops you from thinking, from investigating, from seeing things clearly. You're more likely to just refer to what people say about the words on the Bible, right? So it's kind of like what's going to happen today with the disclosure. They're going to give us pictures, videos, and then they're going to interpret that for us, right? But we're going to talk about that later. So I've always resisted. Inside my heart, I was resisting religion. But I know that there's a God because of my experience. And as a rational being, all of this don't match, right? There's a friction there. So they're trying to prove to me that there's no God by using alien. And I don't get that, right? Like, if there's aliens, there's no God. Why? Because God is the aliens? Like, what's going on? Right? So the alien, we made up the idea that there's a God, but in reality they were aliens. That's it. Is that we misinterpreted? No. Because we have people in the past, and these people in the past, we think of them as ignorant people, but no, they're not. They were actually surrounded by lots of things, lots of stories about gods and stuff like that. It's not new to them that beings that are not humans interact with humans, right? And they call these gods. And then there are elementals. For them, there are elementals. They're the gods of nature, like the spirits of nature, all of that, right? These people are in this mixing pot of everything. Right? There's so much information, so much myth. I don't think it's myth, right? Even these are things that they know before. It's not going to be. It's more strange to us right now when someone says that I saw a fairy in the forest than in the past. In the past, they would say, "Oh, okay, uh, cook a meal and then give that meal to the fairy, so they won't bother you anymore." Yeah, it's like they know that in the past. Today, we're gonna just reject it because we are supposedly quote unquote science people of science, which is stupid, right? Just because we have technology and we have higher maths doesn't mean that we just ignore these things. Like things that people experience, we can't just like throw it away as a, as a delusion just because we haven't experienced it. But it's understandable. Again, like how I said it in the first video, it's understandable that people react this way. You will never believe anything that is not experienced consistently and, at a certain rate, repeatedly at a certain rate. You're not going to believe it if it only happens once. Anyway, so I read the book, right? And in my heart, I was struggling with this, right? So it's easy for me to uh, to fix it right now in my mind and heart because I've already gone through the growth in this. But in the past, it seemed like it was uh, like aliens and God cannot coexist. That was the idea that was being presented to the book, right? I didn't care mostly about that. What I care most is how religion has been oppressing me as a person. The oppression that I felt through religion, especially when you're a pastor's kid, it's very oppressing to be in a religion, right? You're supposed to perform a certain way. Like you're no longer yourself, especially when people's eyes are on you and they treat you like an idol, right? Like their lives, their good behavior is dependent on your good behavior, which is crazy, man. I don't think that's normal. I don't think that's like, okay, I'm gonna behave nice if you behave nice because you're a pastor's kid. So you're the example now. Like you're the police, like something like that. If you do something wrong, now I have license to do something wrong. It's like it's so weird because again, we might talk about it about religion in the future, but there's a dynamic in religion that is very crazy. That people don't depend on God. They actually look at each other and it's like they're suffering their own rules and in some way blaming each other and then in some way using each other as sacrificing each other into like the cross again. I don't know, it's a weird thing. Anyway, this pressure from religion has been creating this resentment inside me, but I didn't realize that in the past, right? So this has built up in me since I was young. So now, 5 years later, a few years later, now I'm sitting on that patch on the hill, right? Looking at the sun with all the knowledge and the questions that Zacharias Ditchen was has proposed, right? And then the idea, the truth, uh, with quotation, the meaning that was running in the background of my mind, like alien and God cannot coexist, so therefore it's either alien or God. Now add to that the resentment I have because of the oppression of religion, and how that oppression, I have endured that oppression for many years. Like, I'm already like in my, I think I think I was in my 16th year right now. So it's been 16 years. And especially for those who are very hardcore religious people, they're the most crazy fault finders. And I don't know, they're the weirdest kind of people. Okay, I hope you're not like that. uh, I don't look to my fellow Christian and look for faults in them, so I can, I now have an excuse to be, or call myself a better Christian or so. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what they want with that, right? Anyway, uh, regardless, right? So I was in this position now. The resentment of religion, the idea that Zachariah's teaching was, oh, was it? No, it's not Zachariah's teaching. I'm so sorry. It's not Zachariah. Chariots of the Gods was written by uh, the ancient, I can't remember his name right now. He was this Dutch guy. Anyway, Zachariah's teaching is about the Sumerians, right? Sumerian story, like he took the tablet, uh, interpreted. It's not Zachariah's teaching. I can't remember his name. Let me look it up. Chariots of the Gods. Chariots of the Gods. Eric von Daniken. I'm so sorry. May you rest in peace. Eric von Daniken. Oh my God. Why was I saying stitching? Anyway, but it plays into this everything. Maybe there's a reason why I was led to think that this was Zacharias Stitchen's book. But Zachariah also has influenced me. So all of this information are in my mind, right? They're like pressing on each other. And the truth that I have holding is God or no God, right? And then being oppressed by a religion that's supposed to, the religion exists to save you from a God, right? That's going to kill you. That's going to burn you in hell forever. The religion is there to save you from that, right? If you do all of the right things prescribed by the religion, the God that they worship will not burn you in hell forever if you do the right things, right? So the religion is religion is the medicine against God's wrath, right? Against God, right? Now, I'm given the keys now with this truth, right, in my heart. What if there's no God? So all of your suffering is useless. You were right all along, and all of this is useless. You don't have to suffer all of this anymore, because there's not even this, there's no disease. There's no God that's going to kill you or that's going to burn you in hell forever. So there's no need for religion, right? That's that's the way out right now. That's being open to me, right? But there's a resentment in right now. Right now I'm very hurt because of religion, right? Not because of Father God, but because of religion and their God, right? Now, I was sitting down there, my heart broken, right? So I started thinking deeply. I slowly slid into this thought because this is always in my mind. So I started asking God now, alone. I was sitting down there, right? I asked him. I opened my heart to him about everything, right? And then I asked, if you really exist, then show me. It's so simple, right? You can do anything. You can create universe. You can create earth. You can create whatever. Immediately, just by a word, you can do it. If you exist and if you care, you really care, right? Prove it. Show it. Prove it to me, right? Because this book, all of this so-called evidence now exists, and then there's the narrative on top of that, which explains that all of this evidence, all of these facts from the ancient past tells that there's something going on there that doesn't involve a spiritual being outside of creation, outside of reality, that wants humans to behave a certain way. There's evidence, and there's a narrative from that evidence that the God that the religion that's oppressing me is telling me about doesn't exist. That what happened in the past, which the religion took and made a story about to create a God that now they can use to justify the existence of their oppressive religion, right? Now prove to me. That's what I said. I was sitting down there. I think it was for an hour or 2 hours, I think. I couldn't keep up with time, but the sun was already, like, if you know, this was the there was a hill here, the side. So this was me, right? This was my spot. So I was sitting down here. My arms, and there's the sun there. So this was the horizon now, right? There's a hill below. There's trees here. But this is an open space. There's a lot of trees in there. Right, so I can see the horizon now. It's a little bit of clouds, like thin clouds here and there. There's no thick clouds really. Clouds, but it's the thin kind, right? The sun was here. I can already see it. So from here, it was hot, right? Down to here, I was just waiting for the reply, man. I was saying, if you don't give me, if you don't answer me, I don't know. Like this is your chance to prove to me I'm alone here. And if you care, prove to me that God exists, that you exist, right? And tell me what you are. So these questions are like, I vocalized it, but in my heart this is one question. And the truth about it is that I was being oppressed by religion, and I want way out. I want out. I don't want to be afraid anymore. I don't want to be afraid of their threats. Like they can threaten you all they want, right? But if you don't believe it, it's not gonna affect you. But right now, whatever I do, there's no escape. If I read the Bible, all I'm going to see, all I'm going to see and understand is coming from their interpretation, from their religion's interpretation. Because I was at this age, and you know, I was in this mindset. There was no way around it. There has to be, I have to be taken out of it a little bit to see what I'm able to see then after all of this, right? Because right now I've seen a lot, I've learned a lot, and I've been shown a lot through experience. Yeah, it's really, when it comes to God and spiritual things, nobody can pass it on to you. Like when you say empathy, right? You can never tell someone to be more empathetic. You can't. That person cannot become more empathetic by telling them be more empathetic. That person must experience something, must go through a process for them to become empathetic, right? It's one example. So like what Jesus said, you have to go through the fire, you have to go through your cross, you have to carry your cross to be changed, to be open, to be. And it doesn't, it's there's no, like what you said, being born again, there's no pattern, there's no way, like there's no prescribed step by step. It just comes from like a wind from here and there. It just happens. You don't know where it happened, why it happened. It just happened. You're just reborn, right? It's not, there's no prescription to being born again. You're to awake, to be renewed, your mind to see things differently. It just happens. In a way, there's no, you can't tell someone or put them in a, like in a regimen, or in a, you can put them in a seminar and their character is going to change. No, they have to go through stuff so they can change, they can become something else, someone else. Their eyes to be open, they have to go through. We can say things to show that it's possible. We can become the possible, the evidence of the possibility, right? Like for example, why Jesus never told them to fight back? It's because if you're truly awake, if you've truly been reborn, rebirth, this, you become the proof that the rebirth exists, that people can be changed, can move beyond their current human ways, right? They were the proof. So that's why they cannot fight back. Because, the thing about evil people, is because when they know that you are standing by a belief, they're going to challenge that because they themselves don't believe it. And they want to disprove the fact, the proof. Because when you're a Christian, a true Christian, okay, I'm not talking about churchians here. Okay, I'm talking about spiritually alive people, awake people, Christians who believe in the real Jesus, right? In the real faith. But there's 7,000 plus denominations here. That's why I don't want to talk about denominations. Religion is crazy. Anyway, let's go back to my experience. I was there sitting and I told him, prove it, or I'm not gonna entertain any of this anymore. All of this, all of that, all of my experience would have been useless. All of my suffering would have been useless. And my entire life would be useless. Like, why would I have to suffer more years of this kind of existence when there's no point to it? There's no, we'll just die, experience suffer, die. No pleasure even. No, you can't have fun. You can't enjoy your freedoms as a human being. You can't use your freedoms. You can't be free to do what you're supposed to be able to do in moderation, right? You can't. So what's the point? We're like animals. Not only are you a caged animal, but you are also sedated. You can't move, but you can see. And while you are sedated, you can feel things. And then the scientist is poking at you. Right? So it's weird. Anyway, I poured my heart out, my pain, my hurt. I was so angry. And I was asking for proof. Prove it now. Prove it now. It was I think it was an hour. So the sun went down here. And I just quieted down. Right? I gave up. I said that, so there's nothing. There's no God. There's no proof. No God. Right? Then suddenly, I felt a warm, like, feeling from the top of my head, right? From here, from the top of your head. And it was like oil being poured down on your head. Like oil being poured down on your head. That it slowly went down to my face, the back of my head, the front of my face, to the sides, down to my neck, to my shoulder. It was pouring. It was flowing to my hands, to my body, to my back, to my stomach, to my legs, and down to my feet. Then it ends with the tip of my toes, my big toes. It's like a flow of energy that feels like oil, warm oil. And you know how that feels? It was a warm, comfortable. It's like a comfort. It's like you're being comforted by this flowing oil, warm, flowing oil. And now I felt comforted, with this peace. The anger was gone. I was like, oh, ah. It's like you're being washed by oil, and a warm oil, and it flowed through your body. You were covered in this warm, comfortable oil down to the tip of my foot. So I felt the flow down slowly, slowly. And the questions in my mind was just gone. I was just focused on this sensation, this feeling of warmth and comfort, this peace. I was staring at the sun, and I laid my back down on the floor, right? On the grass. So I lay myself down right here. So my head would be here, my body would be here, and my feet would be here, right? So I would lay down, my eyes would be right here, looking at the sky, right? So as I lay myself down, as I as my head hit the grass, as I slowly put my head on the grass, I was slowly like lying down as I feel the warmth and the comfort and the peace. I lay my back down on the grass and then my head. And as I put my head down, my eyes were open here. Okay, I closed my eyes. I closed my eyes. It's like closing your eyes, like blinking. But as I closed my eyes, it was slow because it was so wonderfully comforting and peaceful. And it's very nourishing. It's like, it's weird. I never felt anything like that before. And I think I will never feel anything like that before. It was like so healing. It was so nice. So I closed my eyes, slowly closed my eyes as if I was going to sleep, right? Then I opened my eyes, suddenly open it. So I was like slowly closing your eyes for 2 seconds, right? Like it's very slow. 2 seconds is like a slow close. Close, open. I just opened it immediately. And when I opened my eyes, the sun was no longer here. It's already about here. Everything was dark. But there's a little light here. Let's see. It's a little light. But everything here behind is already nighttime here. Right behind. So when I open my eyes, directly on top of me, let's do a side view of this. Okay, so let's do a side view. Let's look at me from a side view. So I was on the floor, right? On the grass. And this is me in the grass. Right? My hands would be here. This would be my feet, right? My eyes. So as I opened my eyes, it was already dark. So it would be the heel. The heel will slide down here. It's already dark. About here, the sky up here would be dark. But here is a small light. About here, I can see there's a small light coming through here. You can still see the sky a little bit. So it's kind of like dusk, right? You can see darkness, but there's still light, a little bit light. Then on the sky, I saw a white, bright light on top of me, right? It was a saucer-shaped light. It feels like a saucer. It's not a ball. It feels like a saucer. Though I'm only looking at the bottom. I know that it's a saucer. It feels like a saucer. It was slowly moving, like move. It would be moving like this. I saw it, right? So it would be moving like this. It was slowly moving. Like I saw it when I opened my eyes, I saw it moving a little bit slowly, and then it was zoom. Slowly, zoom. It went into the sun, towards the sun, the horizon. So where the light, the small light of the sun is, it zipped to that. And disappeared. It zipped and disappeared into the light, the sun. Now the question is, was that UFO the one who made me feel the warm, peaceful feeling from the top of my head to the tip of my toes? Was that the one? Or did my experience attract the UFO? So like, what if like something happened to me that it's not extraterrestrial, right? Something happened to me that I felt that energy on me, and the UFO, the UFO detected that, so they hovered on top of me to observe. What if that's what happened? Because I don't know what happened when I closed my eyes and opened it. It was like either 30 minutes or maybe 15 minutes. I don't know how long. But when I woke up, I felt like I woke up. I felt like I'm very energized. Like all of my energy is back. I was refreshed from that energy. And by closing my eyes, I don't know how long I had to close my eyes there. I can't remember it really because it was missing time. But I felt it was a long time because it was really bright when I felt the warmth, and when I woke up, it was already dark. There's only a small light from the sun. So either the UFO made that happen to me, put me to sleep, or there was something that happened to me that attracted the UFO to observe me. The answer to that, I would never know. I would never know. But I'm more favoring the latter, right? That the UFO was attracted to that event. But this was a white UFO, white light UFO. Now, about disclosure, whatever, whatever right? They say the government is going to come up with information that's going to shatter everyone's faith. That I don't think it will. Now, there's 3 points. There's just, I think this is 5 points that I want to talk about here. Okay. First, even from my long talk, my rumbling before the experience, we have to realize, even from the book of, from uh, Stitchin, from Stitchin, or from Van Daniken, the ancient alien theory, or whatever, right? We have to remember that though we're seeing fact, like maybe artifacts, we could see even the Bible, right? We have writings there. But always remember that people can make facts mean something else. Not only something else, but they can make something up, and they're going to use the fact, the artifact, the book, the alien experience, the video, whatever. They can use that to create a narrative or a truth, a meaning to that. They can attach a meaning to that fact. And people do this all the time. Right? That may not be, this truth that they attach to it may not be true. It may be false. This meaning that they attach to the facts may be false. So you have to be careful. Even with so-called evidence, we have to watch the narrative that's being told using that evidence, right? Like, for example, it's always easy to make something up about something than to make something up, right? You can't create facts, but it's easier to create meaning of a fact. Like, there's a joke in the past, right? Anyway, I think you get the point, right? It's like the half glass, right? A glass filled half water. Do you see that as a half filled or half empty, right? So it's the same thing. Aliens, we could see like spaceships, we could see bioluminescent beings, transparent beings, whatever they are. We could see reptilians, we could see beautiful white tall beings. But the truth may be false. So whatever the government would say about the data that they have, that they're showing, we should ask questions about that. We should not just take whatever they say just because they have the photos, right? Just because I have the proof text of a Bible, proof text, doesn't mean that my preaching is true. It could be false. What I say using that strip, that line of verse, oops, this is cleaner, may be false. Okay? And especially if they make us respond to do something or be something, right? You have to be careful. So the thing is, if they release something and they say something about this, like they say, "Oh no, they're gonna attack," like don't react to that, right? Don't react. Or when they say, because we have aliens now, this means there's no God. It doesn't always have to be like that, right? Maybe the aliens themselves are looking for God. Okay, and there's a verse in the Bible, there's an event in the Bible that could uh, prove that, right? Because when the shepherds, right? Our angel, and they say, blessed is the world, joy to the world, the Lord is come to you. So they're kind of saying, wow, how lucky is the earth that the Lord is come here. The Lord is manifested here. So they must be looking for God too. And maybe humans are more capable of accessing, we are more closer to God than they are. Anyway, that's another story. Now, even those who experience, even myself, who experience multiple experiences, cannot be certain of their encounters, what they really mean. Simply, we can't be certain of it. Ask anyone who's experienced. They can talk about their experience and their message as if that they are very certain about their message, but I know that deep in their heart there's always a question. There's always this uncertainty about their encounter. If they're saying what they're told to say or what they're supposed to say, is it really true? Is it really right? Even if there are multiple experiences of it, like especially for abductees, they only got that information from regression, like they from hypnotic regression, and there was no abductee that remembers everything from the abduction event to into the ship coming home without any missing time or any like unconsciousness in between. They always erase. I don't know what they're doing. Like they tell you something supposedly and then they erase your memory of it. Why? Why do you have to go through regression or hypnosis to uncover what they supposedly told you that is very important to the world? Why do they have to erase it? Why can't they just say it? Right? It's just like me doing an announcement to the world and then having all that listen to me forget it. It's crazy. Okay? Even they having that question in their heart, they can't be sure, right? So even the experiences themselves cannot be certain of the encounters and what they really mean. So now that the government has taken all of these supposed encounters and experiences of others, and then they make something like a narrative that is so certain about this? No. When the experiences themselves are not certain, then how can a government that has an agenda? Governments always have an agenda. If they don't, they're not a government, right? How could they be certain when those who experienced it themselves cannot be fully certain of what those things mean, how it should change you, how it should make your life different, how it should move you, like how it should factor into your decisions, factor into your actions and feelings, right? You can't. So if there's a disclosure and then they tell you like, okay, this is how you should take this, this is how you should react, and you kind of see like the messaging in their announcement is this is how you should do stuff, this is how you should react, then be careful. And the real question here, if aliens exist, the question is what are they, and can we believe the narrative, right? What are they really? You know, me, I've experienced a close encounter. And this one is something else. It's just like oil, warm, comfortable oil. A comfort, physical sensation. I felt a physical sensation of comfort that flowed from the top of my head to the bottom of my feet. It's like warm oil. It's thick. It's like honey. It's like oil, a thick oil, like honey, flowing from the top of my head to the tip of my foot. It was very comfortable. It was peaceful. The comfort is awesome. It's never, you can never find that in this world. There's no, there's no water that you can use here to make you feel that. Okay. So what are they really? Yeah. What are they? Are they like some people say they are biologics? So there are biologicals, and then there are non-biologics, the extra dimensional, right? So they say there are biological aliens and there are non-biological aliens, which is what I believe as well, right? But maybe there's a mix, like they're physical that looks like they have biology, but operate in a different physicality, right? Anyway, that's the question. If there's data, there's proof, right? If the government tells you proof, then they're gonna tell you what they are. But what I mean about what they are really is, you know, when you ask someone, what is it? Like you're asking, what is it for, right? What is a cell phone? What is a computer? So we are asking about the purpose, the involvement. Why is this involved in my life, and how am I supposed to interact with it? What are they, right? Now the most important thing here again is the narrative, the story that they're trying to tell, the truth that they're trying to, supposedly the quote unquote truth, the meaning of this that they're trying to push. That's what you have to be careful of. Okay. Now number 4, there are angels in the Bible. Now you can ask AI, and I have asked AI, right? And it gives you a list. Like ask AI when in the New Testament, where in the New Testament can you give me verses where people have interacted with angels or non-human beings, right? Peter had it. Mary met, spoke with Gabriel, right? Jesus was ministered to by angels, meaning he was taken care of. So Jesus was physical at this point, right? So these angels would have had interactions with the physical, could interact with physical, right? So when talking about angels or spirits, right? This is the question I never asked before. Like, what do you imagine? What do you imagine when we say angel or when we say spirit, right? Where do an angel occur? Like a human being like us occur in this physical reality, right? In our physical reality, in this physical universe. The human being, our skin, our bones, our blood, our flesh, our voices, our thoughts, our presence, our aura, our essence, our who we are is experienced here. My consciousness, you're experiencing my consciousness now through this video, right? So it is the the medium that we're operating in is this reality that we have, the physical reality. But these angels or spirits, where do they occur? Are they physical as well, or are they only figments of imagination? Are they emotions? Are they spirits? Are they, just something we believe in? They don't really exist here. They don't really have uh, impact, or they don't really affect anything. Are they just concepts or ideas, right? Or are they principles? Right? Principles can interact with reality based on the actions of what the principle affects, right? So, for example, there's the God of War could be a principle because it's not it could be a not real God, but it's just the principle of war, and all of the religion based on that, all of the statutes and all the beliefs based on that could affect a person such that he would, you know, be justified to wage war or to engage in warfare or violence. But the God of War in this example doesn't really exist. It's just an object of, it's a personification of of an intention, uh, of a feeling of a person, right? Is that what angels are? Is that, is it like a global, like a shared idea of a personality, a personality that is shared amongst all people, of an idea of a beinghood or personhood? Is that what it is, or is it something else? Are they beings, or are they creatures? Right? There's a difference between a creature and a being. But in the Bible, we see that these beings interacted with human beings. Right? You can ask AI for that. Now, number 5, will people lose faith in meeting aliens? I don't think they will. Right? Unless you believe their or our propaganda about them. Like example, you yourself don't have experience of the creator. right? You yourself don't have an experience of the Creator. Whether your experience of the Creator could be ministered by angels, ministered to you by an angel, or an intermediary, because angels are not only messengers, they are also intermediaries, meaning they perform the deed needed in this physical realm. Like for example, I pray for comfort, right? I need comfort, and then God would send an intermediary to perform the to unleash the energy that would comfort me, or send a person to me to comfort me. So that person becomes an intermediary, and is also called an angel, right? So there's also that function, right? So whether you have an experience of the Father or the Creator through an intermediary or directly, if you don't have that, or you don't notice that, you just reject it. I think if we meet aliens, I think they're going to explain that. They're going to have an explanation of that. But realize that in the Bible, like in our Bible, and this is not being spoken about. I think I'm the only one who's talking about this right now. But in the Bible, it seems that the angels are jealous, that not jealous really. They're like, oh wow, humans get to be lucky, so lucky that the Lord is born among them. The Lord is to be born among them. Right? So these angels see us being a favored race, even though our race has been oppressed by another being, because of how he sees it. He sees humans as different. He sees human as wicked. Right? Anyway, will people lose faith? They might lose faith in your religion, right? And to me, that's good. But they may also need, they may also like migrate to another faith, another religion after losing their religion, because it's, if you lose your religion, it means that you've escaped. Like I said before, people who are in religion usually are looking for an escape from that religion. For Christians, it's about the coming of Jesus Christ. When Christ comes, everything is over, everything is changed. Religion is no more. The oppression of the religion is gone. Because the oppression of the religion extends a lot, extends to your perspective of the world, how you treat people, how you consider people, how you treat yourself, how you consider yourself, how you treat food, wealth, how you consider all of these things. Your friends, your family, everything, women, men, homosexuals, everything. And religion is just the path to salvation, right? You just want to be saved from the wrath of God. And there's your religion. It's the way out. So people are looking for a way out. So when the narrative tells them that they don't need the religion, they will lose religion. But people will never lose, especially those who have had experiences with the divine. You know, divinity is something else. Divine experience is something else. So those who have experience with the divine, or the creator himself, either through mediator or direct, we lose that core principle, that core reality because of their experience. You can never change a person's mind just because you say something or disprove something. You can disprove the religion, and that's fine. But people will always retain the experience that they have. Right? People might go through a crisis, uh, a period of crisis, but this is also good because this will be the fire that you're going to go through to be reborn, right? And I think that's a good thing. So remember, guys, remember, God uses everything, can use everything, right? But the important thing is He's always out for your good. His plan is always for your good, for your benefit, right? And we're so focused about money and all of that, or, what we're gonna eat, what we're gonna wear, where are we going to sleep, right? Even Jesus said that before, right? Even today, that's what we're doing. We're so focused about money. Like when we talk about God caring about us, we're gonna then immediately come to our mind, like, why hasn't He given me money yet? But that's not the point. Like Jesus said, seek ye first the kingdom. Meaning that's what we need. That's more important. Who we are, how we are inside of us, is much more important than what we have. Right? But it doesn't mean that God will not provide. You just have to ask. Just ask. And He will send angels. Angels could be in the form of something, like a person. Ask. Okay? So when aliens exist, for me, in the past, looking back right now, I had those questions. I had those doubts because I was not really against God. No. Religion itself was already against God in my heart. Religion was opposed to the God that I love, that I know. So I was not trying to escape God. I was trying to escape the religion that's preventing me from accessing God, from a direct relationship with God. So in a metaphor, right? This is so amazing. I'm just thinking about it right now. As soon as I, remember the story, remember what happened? As soon as I gave up, say, okay, it's over, I'm done. Then the comfort came. As soon as I let go, as soon as I let it go, like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm done. There's no proof, nothing. No answer. I'm done. I'm done here. I'm done with all this. As soon as I gave up religion, that was like a shackle in my neck. As soon as I gave up, the fear, the burden, as soon as I put the burden down, the comfort came to me. And it was not just a psychological comfort. I felt it. It was like oil. I was being, it was like being, oil was being poured down on my head. It was not just any oil, it was like thick honey consistency, right? It slowly filled me, slowly poured down external. I felt it external. And while it was, I felt the, it was physical sensation, man. It's like something flowed all over my body as I felt that there was this comfort inside of me, peace, comfort, and healing. So it's just like that, right? A metaphor, probably. So am I afraid? Like, should you be afraid to lose your faith? Like when people say will lose their faith, uh, not really. You grow out of religion, right? You grow out of it. You become more mature. You become an adult in your spirit, who you are. You're no longer shackled by all of this religion. You become a person who is responsible. Like you don't need fear to do good things. You actually do good things because you're not afraid. You know that this is good. You know, people in religion don't understand. Like, why do you do good things if there's no religion, if there's no God, if religion is not true? Why do you do good things? We do good things because it's good, because God is good, right? Father is good. He's light. There's no shadow of turning. There's no, he doesn't deceive. He doesn't tempt you. He's good, all love, right? And the funny thing is, religion says Christians are made to say that this is a new age thing, but it's not. It's not. It's what Jesus taught. And of course, religion always blinds you. That's why, you know, it's a veil. Religion is a veil. It's not. They think that Christ or Jesus can only be met through religion, but it's not. Like you can only access God through religion. No, it's personal. That's what Jesus was trying to say his entire life. Like I said, you see me? How long have we been together? Like the disciples saying, show us the Father, then we believe you. Show us the Father. Jesus said, how long have we been together? And you still don't know me? That's what he's saying. You can know God without religion. You can meet God without religion. As a matter of fact, if you're honest, religion blocks you from knowing God. It makes you bitter. It makes you resentful. It makes you hate people. It creates a divide. Right? It divides, it separates you from a person just because he has this, he's doing that, he's born like this is his race. Like if you go strict about religion, it's weird. It's gonna get weird quickly, right? Anyway, when they present the alien disclosure, what I'm going to be seeing, what I'm going to be asking is just like I'm going to watch, I'm going to be watching, separate what you see, that their proof and then their narrative. Try to separate it. When whatever narrative that they attach to what they say as fact, separate both of them and then examine both individually, right? Okay. And people are not gonna lose their faith over that, right? We've seen more crazy stuff for people to lose stuff or to lose their religion, and I wish like it would be that easy, but it's not. It's not that easy to remove someone from a religion. They might go into a crisis, ask questions, and they might see things. You know, for a sincere seeker, seeker of truth, seeker of, you know, light of God, seeker of the truth of God, the Father. Like, if you really seek the truth, you will never lose your way unless you get deceived, right? Unless you believe the deception. But even if you did, it's only a season for that deception. Deceptions never last long. It always consumes. It's always a time limited thing. It never really, you know, lasts forever. Like, even cults had to revise their teaching, right? So that you only find out that they're a cult when you go back into their past and see the core of their beliefs buried underneath, right? Because if they don't put up the things that will last, it's never gonna work. Like, if your foundation is not solid, it's your building is not gonna stand. There's going to be a time that it's standing, but it will never stand that long. But then the time limit, the time frame of the lie is very crucial. If you have a plan why you are saying the lie. Like, say, if the government is intending to deceive people, to move people a certain way through this alien disclosure, then, you know, it's not going to last long, but in the duration that it lasts, that's when they will act, right? So just be careful with that. And, you know, I hope we don't ever come to do the same things that we did during the COVID era, like persecuting people because of their convictions. Like, people were being persecuted at that time because of their research, because of their ideas, because of their hypotheses or their theories or their just opinions. It's a very dangerous time to be in that situation. I've experienced even during that time, because I never wanted to have, you know, have anything to do with whatever the program the government was doing, and people were, you know, shaming me for it, or even, you know, excluding me because of it, because of my, you know, I don't believe in the propaganda, in the movement of the mass, right? In the belief of the masses. I didn't believe as the masses did, so I was excluded. I was called the way it and looking at what happened uh, back then as an observer, I also noticed how videos were being posted that, amazingly people parroted all of these ways of seeing things. Like, for example, if you saw someone who didn't like to be experimented on, and then there was this person that called that person names. The funny thing is, other people started calling other people like that too. If you don't believe in the science, in the efficacy of their science, they're gonna call you same way. It's like it's like people are just copying this, whatever they see on these videos that look like it has authority. Like if they're wearing a formal dress, or if they're wearing like a science lab coat, you're gonna copy that. It's weird, right? So they pass down, they parrot the system, and it's weird. So I wonder right now with this disclosure, what's gonna happen? Why? Why are they doing it? Because you can always alien has already been disclosed for a long time. They say it's never been disclosed, but it has always been disclosed. People know that they exist. The aliens themselves have been showing themselves in the sky. It's only that there's no official, because the weird thing about people is they will only believe something if those who are in power tell them. Like those who are in power, for example, would uh, say that this information is true, and that's the only time that people believe it. And they believe what those in authority say how you should treat this information. So again, me personally, I wonder why. Like the oil still high, the bills are still coming up very high. Uh, there's no the super El Nino is still here. Like there's there's still the risk of food shortage. There's no oil moving 20%, and that's a huge thing. Just losing 5% would lead the world to like a recession, right? So now we lost 20%, and then we've also lost other facilities from other countries that's producing oil. So it's not only 20% that we've lost. Maybe it's more like maybe 30 or 40% of oil that's moving in the economy has gone. But still issues like that right now. There's always there's corruption in my country. There's so much corruption, so much stupidity, so much drama. So why now? Right? So anyway, that was my experience. And as a Christian, the question is really this: angels. We just throw these words around like it's normal, like everybody understands what it is. When you say angel, do anybody know what an angel is? What does an angel look like? They look like men in the past. They look like men, but they wear glittering clothes. Their clothes were like lightning, and their skin was white as light, was bright as light. They were glowing, and their clothes were like lightning. So they were electricity. They look like electrical distortion. Like they look like lightning bolts. Their clothes. And then their skin is like light, white as light. That's the men that we call angels in the Bible. These are physical beings, but they don't seem to be creatures. They're not like animals are creatures, right? Humans are creatures. They seem to be not creatures. They're not a genus or something. The energy, they look like electricity, glittering, like sparkling, whatever, right? So for Christians, this is it. Ask yourself first: what are angels? What are spirits? Where do they operate? Is it mental? Is it just in your mind? Or can you touch them? Can they touch you? Can you limit them? Can you stop them? Can they stop themselves, or are they just elements moving? Are they just entities that are they just realities that are constantly affecting reality? Like it's just part of reality. Like let's say anger. Anger is an emotion, right? But it's a reality that exists, that every creature can be angry, right? Ants can be angry. Dogs can be angry. Anyway, that's it for me. And I hope you have a nice day. It's quite long, this video. So I apologize for that. And I'll see you next time.